Hi, this is Sasikan Haskell. I am at the law office of Lewis Haskell, and right next to me is Attorney Lewis Haskell. Hello to Attorney Haskell.
Hello, Sasikan.
Okay, the topic today we are going to talk about a question that somebody asked us. It's regarding the long form and the short form. What are these forms? What are they talking about? Attorney Haskell is going to explain in detail what those are.
Why, thank you. The long form, as that term is used colloquially in our community, does not exist anymore.
Right.
From my point of view as a tax attorney, it actually never existed. It was nothing more than a clever marketing for what was really and truly a tax scam. Okay. The long form, to the extent that it did exist, was Schedule A, which is still around, and that is a form very familiar to people who own homes,
Right.
because that's where you write off taxes, mortgage interest, things like that. It used to be a place where you could write off something called the employee business expense. And the employee business expense was very important, for example, to visiting nurses. I have a number of clients who, they drive from house to house seeing people, and this was a big deal to them because they could write off their mileage, which their employers were not reimbursing. They could write off their uniforms, their licensing, their education, and things like, by education I just mean certificates and whatnot, continuing education, and things like that. The problem is that the employee business expense came to be a major source of fraud in the tax code.
Right.
And so a couple years ago, Congress simply got rid of it.
Right.
They made a number of reforms to the tax code to get rid of some of the more obvious areas of fraud, and this was one. And what we were saying, because one of the nice things about being an attorney who prepares taxes is I get to see where other people get in trouble.
Right.
And what we were saying, would somebody come into my office, say they're an assembler making, they're an assembler, and they get this letter from the IRS and they bring me their tax return, and I'd look at them, I say, okay, you're an assembler. You drive to and from work. Okay, you do not do any other driving. And correct, well, you have 30,000 business miles here. What's that all about? And they look at me and say, I don't know. I don't have any business miles. So, okay, and you take your lunch to work, or you buy lunch when you're at work, but you're never taking clients to lunch or prospective business partners or anything like that, are you? No, not at all. I said, okay, because it says here you have $10,000 in meals and entertainment expenses.
Right.
You use the tools your employer gives you. You don't bring any of your own tools, because it says on your tax return you wrote off $1,500 and it goes on like that. And the clients are kind of looking, no, I didn't say any of that.
Right.
And so now they're the ones all in trouble, because it turns out it's a paper filed return, and it's a paper filed return because the tax preparer's name is not on it. In fact, what I see he's been doing lately is putting his name on a sticky and putting that on the client's copy, but the software version of it says self-prepared, and that's what the IRS sees.
Right.
Now the scam has changed a little bit. What I'm seeing coming into the office now from the same people who are doing the employee business expense is taking, for example, if you're in the Army Reserve, you can write off your miles to go to your reserve training and your 1 weekend a month and this kind of a thing.
Right.
But you have to be in the Army Reserve to do it. And so, so I have people come in, and again, they're getting these audits, and I ask, are you in the military? Are you in the reserve? Does anybody in your family in the military? Has anybody ever served? Like, no. It's like, okay, well, according to this, you spent all this money, drove all these miles, whatever, for your reserve training. And we're seeing it in medical expenses as well, because that's still there. Did you actually pay out of your own pocket, not covered by insurance, $30,000 for health care last year? No, no, I'm healthy. It says here, and that's the way the new scam is working. But and that's what people, as I say, call the long form, although that is not a term the IRS would recognize.
Right. So now we understand that long form does not exist, and therefore if you go to some tax preparer and somebody said, okay, I'm going to prepare the long form for you and this is how much I'm going to charge. So please be aware that it's not legal. Whatever they're going to put in that form, it's you who are going to be responsible. It's you who are going to answer to the IRS. Is that correct?
That is correct. Another thing to look out for, although I have not seen this here in Lowell, the IRS is reporting that they've been cracking down on this very hard, and that's the fake business. That's right. Been another, instead of having employee business expenses, now we just have business expenses
right.
For businesses that can document no income because they don't exist.
Right.
And that is the new thing. By the way, if you're in IRS enforcement, or even if you're designing the algorithm for IRS enforcement, people in the National Guard get a W-2.
Right.
So if you're writing off military mileage and you don't have
the W-2
any government income,
right.
That's an easy one to catch.
Right. Exactly. All right, everyone. So now you understand in terms of the long form and the short form. So the next time somebody claimed that they're going to get you a huge refund because they are preparing the long form legitimately, please be aware that it does not exist. Okay, so today our topic ends right here. We will see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you.